Stand up. Come on, you know the drill. Last talk before the break. Up you get, everyone. And you. Right. Great, everyone's up. Right. Now, everyone who's working on a completely greenfield product, so you're building out your own user journeys, you're developing your own service layers, sit down. Not very many. We're all quite jealous of you guys. You're building the legacy tech of the future. The rest of us, we're not having such an easy time. We've read all those West Coast textbooks on MVP and lean, and we're finding it really hard to relate to our experience of working on existing products. We're untangling overcomplicated user journeys. We're trying to integrate with an offshore API that's undocumented, built by someone 5 years ago. You know, to be honest, sometimes we're finding it hard to ship anything minimum or viable. And I'm not going to make it worse by making you stand for 25 minutes, so grab a seat. I'm the product innovation director at Foote, and we're a different kind of e-com business from others, because our customers come to us to make products, and they come with a moment in their minds. And it's not the moment that they took the photograph or the moment they're going to finish the book. It's the moment of giving what they're making to someone. So they can literally visualize their partner's face when they open the book that they've made of their child's first year. Every single thing we make is unique, and we manufacture them all on demand. My team design the physical products that Foote sell, and we work out how to manufacture them at scale. And we also look after the digital journeys. And those digital journeys are where customers add their photo, add text, and where the photo becomes so much more than a photo. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story about a constraint that shipped 1,000 products. There's a villain, 2 dogs, an identity crisis, and a hero. Are you ready? Foote is in the middle of a rebirth. We have about 20 million customers in 15 countries, and we're taking the company from sort of steady year-on-year growth to kind of proper acceleration. And we're in the middle bit, where our ambitions completely outstrip our abilities, because legacy tech. And it's so frustrating. On the one hand, we can do things on an incredible scale. We just put 7 billion of our customers' photographs into the cloud. And if you printed every single one of those, they would cover the surface of the Earth 1.25 times. We loaded so many photos to Amazon so fast that we broke Amazon's indexing system. And on the other hand, it is incredibly difficult to add new fonts. We're busy rebuilding pretty much every single part of our platform and our customer experience. And while we do that, we can't stand still. Our customers expect us to innovate, and there are new entrants entering our market every single month. Plus, we're PE-backed, so our investors expect to see results. At the start of this year, the pressure was really on. It really only been possible to launch about 4 products last year, and so the goal for this year was about 10 times that. But the good news was there was a really clear opportunity area to go after. Take a look at this. Our customers tend to buy from us for really important people and very important occasions. Just look at all that white space. There's a huge area to go after. And the reason we weren't collecting customers in that space was partly because of the physical products that we were offering. When you look through our range, there wasn't really anything you could get your kid's teacher as a thank you present, for example. So we had this huge opportunity area, and we wanted to fill it with great everyday gifts. But legacy tech. If you've bought a Foote product, you'll know a little bit about the way our journey works. There's a bit of our website that we call the studio, and this is where you put your photo and your text on, and this is where you make your product. And we're busy rebuilding the studio from scratch, and while we do that, we really didn't want to break the old one, so we didn't want to mess with it. We didn't want to do anything that might potentially break it and mean we couldn't fix it. So how were we going to add tons of products without adding any new features to our studio? We looked at it, and we looked at it, and we tried to work out what to do, and eventually we got to the fact that the least risky, most simple thing we could do was to add a square layout. This was our constraint, a square. We could basically make any kind of physical thing that we wanted to, as long as the thing we printed on it was square. But the problem is, squares actually look pretty rubbish if you just slap them onto stuff. Nope. Nope. Life doesn't always just fit in a square. And so we had to ask ourselves, what can you do with a square? So sure, you can print it on paper, but you can also print it on wood, in a small little bit of wood on a stand, and works really well on a desk. Or you can print it on a big bit of wood with a hanging kit and put it on the wall. Or you can print it on magnetic paper and break it into 9 pieces, and it looks great on a fridge. Or 1,000 pieces, and it's a puzzle, still a square. You can print 4 in a strip to make a nice retro photo strip. You can put cork underneath, and it's a coaster. You can print it on fabric, and it's a cushion, add a zip, and it's a pouch, still a square. You can add 3 sides, and it's a box, print it on a lid, and it's a tin, fill it with chocolates, advent calendar, still a square. And this is what I call maximum possible product. When you're building an MVP, you can build any kind of customer journey you want. It's all about the discipline of not overdeveloping your product, of trying to find the most valuable thing you can do. But most of us don't live in that world. We have constraints. And even if your constraint isn't legacy tech, you still have to conform to what the App Store requires you to do, or you still have to struggle with the limitations of trying to get your website to work on different browsers. We need a different approach. A lot of people joke about maximum possible product, but for me, it's not about drowning your customer in features that they don't need. It's about not waiting for the constraint to go away. It's about delivering fantastic product now. Maximum possible product allowed us, we took our constraint, and what it allowed us to do was it allowed us to focus from all that white space down to a set of products that were possible, and then we launched the best possible version of those that we could that still made sense for our customers. Maximum possible product means constraints don't stop you. They focus you, and they focus you on the best possible thing that you can do. About 25 products later, we ran out of things that looked okay with a square on them. So it was time to go back to the customer. Your customers bring context with them, their lives, their reasons for landing on or interacting with your product in the first place. What's this? Well, it depends who you ask. As part of our research, we put this box in front of people and we said to them, what photo would you print on this, and what would you put in it? And here are some of their results. Our legal department has asked me to make it very clear at this point that these are customers' recommendations and not endorsed usages by Foote Box Group. You shouldn't dictate the context, but you can also really use context to inspire your customers. We see a lot of this in e-com in the form of occasion-based merchandising. So these are sets of products curated around reasons to buy. You take pretty much exactly the same set of products and you organize them into collections based on what people are actively searching for. SEO gold. But you can also do this in pure play digital as well. You can take a set of features, again, essentially exactly the same product, and use naming, imagery, and marketing to make it something completely different. Here is one of my favorite examples, Map My Run, followed not long after by Map My Walk, Map My Ride. They didn't even bother to change the imagery here. It's fantastic. They're basically using exactly the same feature set to capture different customers around different needs, just with different labeling and colors. It's so clever. They're winning at search, customer experience, and reach. It's a single digital journey with multiple market fit, maximum possible product. At Photobox, our customers really help us to do this. We can take a nice generic bowl, and we can put it in front of someone, and they'll say, oh yeah, that's a cereal bowl, I'd use that for my kids. And then in the very next focus group, someone will pick that bowl up again, and they'll say, oh, that'd be perfect for my dog. And we can max this out. We can take all of those products that we've launched, and we can use text and imagery to make entirely new products without adding a single thing. There's no material cost for us. And by the way, it's still a square. We will launch thousands of these variants, and we will use data to help us understand what our customers love best. Maximum possible product. Maximum possible product means finding multiple market fit from a single product. Now we really were running out of things that we could do with a square. And so it was time to go back to our existing products. At Photobox, photo books are our hero product. We sell about 4 million of them a year. And on the busiest day, our factory in Paris makes 20,000 books in one day. Our customers like to spend absolutely ages making them. They invest so much time and kind of pour so much love into it, they land up doing them about maybe once or twice a year. We have a UX lab in our offices in Farringdon, just around the corner, and we have customers in there every week. And we sit them down at the front of the studio, and the same thing happens over and over again. They literally freeze. And we call it blank page syndrome. They have this really clear idea in their mind of what they want to do, they know what they want it to look like, and yet they can't quite. So what if we were missing a trick? What if by having a studio that was really feature-rich and these books that were high-end, high production value, were we actually only providing our customers with one choice? We started to think about our legacy tech constraints in a completely different way. We started to say, well, out there, have brands used constraints to really work for their customers? And I think there's kind of two great examples that it's worth talking about here. Last year, Nokia brought back the banana phone and the 3110. So for those of you who are too young to remember these, they're basically just phones, and they can text. And they have multi-day battery life, which is quite extraordinary. And then an example from one of our brands, Moonpig. Their constraint is literally a letterbox. They take a really big bunch of flowers, and they work out how to flat pack that to get it through a letterbox. Fantastic examples of people really building constraint into the product. So what if we made constraint a feature? What if we locked the number of pages, restrained the layout, took away a load of the features? Would our customers feel less paralyzed by blank page syndrome? What if it was square? This is our Little Moments book. It's got 25 pages with a fixed layout, a square photo on every single one, and you can only use our existing fonts. It's been live for about 3 months now, and it's already one of our top 10 bestsellers. It isn't a product that customers could have told us that they wanted. Their idea of what a photo book was constrained by what we'd already offered them. And then we took exactly that same book, and we took away more of the pages, we thickened the paper, made it chewable, please don't actually eat it, added some brightly colored background squares, and we made a toddler book, a completely different product. Our legacy tech constraints chased us into rethinking existing products. We created 2 whole new opportunities by taking the constraints and making it a feature of the product. Maximum possible product means making your constraints work for your customers. Were we done yet? No, we weren't. We started to wonder, can we go around the monster? Could we create a customer journey that basically skipped out the whole Square Studio constraint? Last summer, we did a major piece of ethnographic research across the UK, France, and Germany. We really wanted to understand how customers use photographs in their homes. So, where do they put them? How do they interact with them? And we came away with some fascinating insights after spending days literally hearing and seeing where these photos were landing. The choice of photo, the size, what the photo was of, and where it was arranged varied depending on the room and the house. But what was more fascinating was that it also varied by geography. So in Germany, the living room is considered a very public space. So it's very much a place for hosting visitors. And so you don't see very many personal photos in the living room at all. Whereas in the UK, we see the living room or the lounge as very much part of our personal living space. So we keep our photos in there, but they tend to be quite small. They're on bookshelves or on the mantelpiece. Across everything, one thing was clear. We had a fridge problem. And the fridge problem was that people were very happy to cover their fridges in kind of fun family photos, but they'd never think about taking that photo, blowing it up onto a canvas, and hanging it above the fireplace. Those spaces were reserved generally for art, and generally with the impression of for impressing people. So we're obviously in the photo business, so we had to ask ourselves a tough question. Should we go after that customer need? We could very easily take art and print it on exactly the same canvases that our photos are printed on. Or did it being photo box mean we were always going to be constrained to the fridge? We started to look around again at what other companies had done to stretch their brands outside of their kind of original purpose. And these are sort of two great examples we came across. I love the fact that Airbnb used to just do B&Bs. Now they offer you experiences, restaurants, and we'll wait to see where they go from here. I think it's also worth looking at Skyscanner, who now do car rental. I think you guys are here. Yay, shout out, great brand extension. What we could see was companies with high growth were stepping outside their original purpose and going after, following their customer needs. Why couldn't we? This is our artist collection, which we launched in the summer. It's a set of about 50 images, which we selected partly with the help of an interior designer, and partly based purely on their SEO and SEM potential. So what we could see customers were actively searching for to buy. Sadly, I had to veto dogs playing poker on grounds of good taste. And these pictures, well, the best thing about them was that they got us around our legacy tech. Remember with the little baby book, the kids and the books, we took features out of the studio to make it simpler. With the artist collection, we took it one step further. We just took the studio out of the journey altogether. And these artworks are printed on exactly the same canvases as our photos. We had to fool our systems into thinking they were getting an art print when actually we were getting a photo canvas when they were actually getting an art print, which you'd think would be easy, but ended up with us taking down the canvas spoolers, which is a software that runs these big flatbed canvas printers. There's 4 of them. For 11 very stressful hours while 1,000 customer orders backed up. We are now banned from testing in the factory on the busiest days of the week. When you have an existing product, you have an incomparable advantage over new products. You have customers, and you can follow them. Your brand, your history, your legacy tech do not define your products. Your customers and their needs do. Our constraint with the square caused us to challenge the identity and brand purpose of our 18-year-old company. And in so doing, we added an entirely new category of product to what we offer. And guess what? Art actually works on most of the other products we offer as well. Maximum possible product means challenging your brand purpose to follow your customer needs. So, those of you at the beginning who are feeling all smug about your greenfields tech and your shiny MVPs, ha, I say. Not so smug now, right? Crying out for some constraints to help your products get better. I'm still a little bit jealous. At Photobox, we hire people who thrive in the face of constraint. We have to be scrappy and resilient, and we have to be really creative about how we get things done. This is Gareth, and this is Gareth's oven. And this oven is why I hired Gareth. At his previous company, Gareth was where he was redesigning the packaging. Gareth was told there was no budget for what's called a vacuum forming machine. And if you're redesigning packaging, a vacuum forming machine is actually pretty critical. You need to be able to rapidly prototype, understand how the materials perform, and how the whole unit comes together. So Gareth didn't hear no. He heard, make your own, which he did with a Hoover and an oven. And you won't see the oven in this video because the whole project had to be done under this cloak of secrecy so that his health and safety department wouldn't find out that he was superheating plastic in the staff canteen. My health and safety department have asked me to point out at this point that we do not endorse the superheating of plastic with home appliances. When you can't find a way forward, go be the hero. Stop whining. Embrace your legacy tech, and then chain that guy down and make him work for you. Take your brand and shake it inside out. Maximum possible product isn't a framework. It isn't a textbook. It isn't even a story. It's a mindset. Your attitude is everything. Maximum possible product is about finding a way forward when there don't seem to be any good options. It's about making the most of your constraints and turning them into features that work for your customers. It's about finding new ways to serve your customers and challenging your brand purpose and identity. So, what can you do with a square? Turns out, quite a bit. What's your square? And what are you going to do with it?